Are you ready to invest in your next Bitcoin miner, but unsure where to start? Look no further than compassmining.io. Why choose Compass Mining? 3 reasons. Number 1, an effortless buying experience. Their state-of-the-art website and secure checkout process make purchasing your Bitcoin miner a breeze. Number 2, their expert guidance. Unsure which Bitcoin miner is right for you? Their friendly, knowledgeable team based in the US is here to help. Number 3, their hosting solutions. Need a place to host your new Bitcoin miners? Compass Mining has over 20 partner locations across the United States. I recently visited their Nebraska facility in December and now host several Bitmain Antminer S21s and S19K Pros at Compass. The experience was fantastic. Ready to learn more? Visit the link down below to set up a free one-on-one consultation with a Compass Mining team member, or watch the full Nebraska mining farm tour down below. Start your Bitcoin mining journey today with Compass Mining. Hello, what's going on, guys? Do a quick little mic check here, making sure our mic is working. God, the camera quality is so bad. Let's see here, a little music. All right, we'll get that going in the background here. We're making do on the laptop, all right? Fancy production quality here, I'll tell you what. Cool. All right, so can you guys give me a thumbs up in chat or tell me that you guys can hear me? That would be fantastic. Please let me know. We're making do on our laptop here, so let me know if the music's too loud, too quiet, or if you guys can't hear me at all. That would be perfect. So I'll give it a minute here for you guys to answer. That would be awesome. Hello to everybody over on Twitter. Got a big crowd over on Twitter today, which is awesome. You can hear me? Good. Is it okay or is it terrible? I am running off of this wireless scope mic, which is perfect. Yeah, I didn't, I got to start bringing some of the cords that I need for live streaming. That would be perfect. I kind of forgot. And so I can't actually use my camera hooked up to my live stream. If I remembered, I actually have one of the Elgato HDMI into, it's actually USB to HDMI. And then I can plug my camera in and I can use my camera and stream at 4K. But anyways, yes, they say the memory's the first to go. Wow, dude, wow. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming to hang out with me today. Do appreciate it. A number of you guys in chat here. Scott Sheffield coming in. We got Rude Puts here with the beer glove. Oh, beer, can't wait. Gonna have some drinks tonight. And I'll explain where we are and stuff in a minute. We got Gregory saying hello. What's up, man? Rogue Miner. Hail from PDX. The weather is gorgeous in North Texas. Dude, the weather is so nice here currently right now. It's absolutely wild. We'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, a number of you guys coming in, which is good. Could be better, but anyways, that's right. I'm trying here. We're trying. But anyways, yeah, so I actually flew. Let me know if the music's too loud. I have it really, really soft, but sometimes you can't tell from my side. But yes, so I am in Midland, Texas. And we are actually down here visiting the team from Veray Mining. If you look them up online, you can find them down here in Midland, Texas. Actually, it was really funny. I left yesterday morning. Yesterday morning was an absolute early morning. It was like one of those 4 a.m. mornings. So I was up at 4 a.m. We were out the door by 4:30. We were to the airport and at our gate by 5:30. And our flight left, boarded at 5:30, wheels up at 6. So we flew from back home in Pennsylvania to Fort Worth, Texas. Now, when I left in Pennsylvania, it was like 15 degrees at that time. It was mad cold. And by the time I got to Fort Worth, Texas, and then I boarded a small plane and flew to here, Midland, Texas. Dude, I got off the plane and like through the airport and outside, and it was 90 degrees Fahrenheit, like 90. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, I just left like a few hours ago and it was 15 and now it's 90 here, which is crazy. Yeah, it's beautiful weather down here. It is like literally last night for dinner, we sat in like downtown Midland outside, and it was like springtime weather. I couldn't believe it. The music should be a bit quieter. Absolutely, I'll adjust that. Thank you for giving me a heads up. Let's put it down here. There we go. I adjusted it. Thank you for the heads up there. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't want the music to be loud, just something background. But yeah, man, the weather in Texas, I mean, it's wild. Like noon, you know, it's like 90. And then when at night, you know, around dinner time and stuff, it was like high 70s. It was really, really nice. Blue skies down here, no clouds. But we actually flew down and I got picked up and we went off to the site yesterday. And it's in the middle of nowhere, like absolutely oil fields, the middle of nowhere, and worked out really, really well. Got a chance to see the site. They're actually operating on a flare gas site. So like talk about like knowledge and education bomb for sure, which was pretty sweet. But yeah, got a chance to see how that works, how that's set up. Dude, it's totally wild how outside of like the upfront capital for your infrastructure build out for flare gas, it is so much cheaper, insanely cheap. Like, man, and down here in Texas, I mean, there is flare gas and oil pumps everywhere. I mean, we drove for over an hour to get to where the mining farm was. And even then you're in the middle of nowhere. Like there are no homes, there are no buildings. It is just miles and miles and miles of oil pumps, which is absolutely wild to see. So yeah, it was really cool to hang out with their team, just learn a lot about kind of flare gas and like, you know, everything after the generator is like normal. You know what I mean? It's just like they're running an upstream data box. They got a gigabox as well. But then everything before that, like a massive Caterpillar generator and all the different systems to clean up to get dry gas all the way through and through. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So yeah, it's been a great experience, learning experience. And yeah, I'm excited to share that with you guys. I mean, I am lucky to be afforded some of these situations where I can visit these farms and bring them to you guys in video form. How do you deal with fluctuations in power? Let's see here. The generators are the roadblock. Seen so many busted. Yeah, so the generators are absolutely, like, you're absolutely right, Son of a Tech. Son of a Tech's joining us over on Twitter. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, that you're absolutely right. Like, they have 3 generators here, one for each container, and then they have one that's actually like their backup or like the rotating one that they rotate through. Because I was actually chatting with the one guy here, Tommy is his name. He's like their mechanic. Like, you have like a mechanic on staff pretty much that works on these massive generators. And it was really cool because when I was here, they were doing spark plug replacements, oil change. And they say, you know, in the video, I discussed this, but I absolutely don't mind sharing it here in the live stream. They do maintenance every 1,000 hours. And they said usually it's about a 2-hour maintenance for their guys to come on site to pull off the heads, to do their oil change, to do spark plugs. And that's just proactive. Like, that's to keep ahead of it versus running it. Some companies run these generators till they break. And so it definitely makes sense to do it ahead of time. But yeah, it's wild. I mean, you're talking literally the cost for their flare gas that they pay back to the oil company that runs this site is 1 cent. Absolutely 1 cent, which is like, holy cow. Like, the profit margins are huge on that. What generators are they running? What is the purity level of the location? I don't know on the purity level. That might have been mentioned during the video when I was discussing with them, but they're running Caterpillar generators here, which will be pretty sweet. So I'll be eager to share those with you. It sounds like you know a lot about it, Son of a Tech, which is really cool. I didn't realize that you had a lot of experience in that kind of world of flare gas and the generators and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a very educational for sure. And actually on our way out, we stopped at a few sites that had active flare gas burning. And that was really cool to see. I actually took my drone up, flew my drone up, got some really cool shots of that, because this is like a whole new world to me, right? Like, you know, which is nice. Shh, don't tell anyone. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone, except it's on a live stream here, so you know. But yeah, it's been very cool. Great experience. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when I was in Texas and I went down to not what is it called? Begins with an M. It's very far south in Texas. I visited fraction mining down there. McAllen? Yeah, McAllen in southern Texas. Like, you're right near the border. There were wind turbines everywhere. And I rarely saw oil pumps. But here in Midland, we drove for over an hour from the hotel to there, and it was all oil pumps. And I didn't see one wind turbine at all. And there's just oil pumps and oil pumps. It's nuts. So yeah, definitely a really good learning experience. Down here, Paul from Veray Mining had hosted me down here, and very, very, very smart guy. Texans call that the Valley. Okay, very cool. Yeah. See, I'm learning all these things along the way for sure. But it's been very educational, to say the least. And the nice thing is with Paul, because like, you know, you guys have seen Bitcoin mining farms on my channel, and I visited very much a lot of them. So in this video that I do here, I really focus on flare gas, on like what makes it different. Why would people want to do this versus like grid tied? What's the major benefit? And as you guys know already, like the major benefit is just cost. Like 1 cent per kilowatt hour is like amazing. Now, you can't power as many miners. You know, you're not doing containers and containers and containers on one site. But the nice thing is like you can kind of do a lot of these micro sites with, you know, a container. And, you know, his goal and Veray Mining's goal is to do more off-grid mining, expand here in Texas with it, which is great. They're running M30. I think it's M30S++, I think is what the model is. I'm just looking here. You never know with these pluses. Yep, M30S++, which is like the 100 terahash model. It's about 3,200 watts and seems to be really, really slick, like doing really well. And the nice thing is with 1 cent electric, your profit margins are really, really good. Let me look that up real quick here. And it's a little difficult for me to share my screen with doing this on this single monitor. But let me go ahead and search here. And I want to look for the M30. One of you guys might beat me to it. M30S++. Oh no, the M30S++ is 112 terahash. So at 1 cent, profit is $5.85 a day. And that's nice that you're getting out of a unit from 5 years ago. The M30S++ came out, I'm reading here, October of 2020. So that is kind of nice that you can kind of buy up older hardware, and that can get you by, which is really, really slick, to say the least. I don't know why, I do apologize. I don't know why, I'm catching up on chat here. It wasn't updating. I am streaming on Twitter, and I'm also on YouTube currently right now. So it wasn't updating the chat for some reason, but it seems to be working now, which is good. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's been a great time coming down here and hanging out. I got a few hours actually right now. I'm getting picked up at 4. We're gonna go get some drinks and grab some dinner. So I was like, man, I got my, whenever I do these, I always like to come back to the room and take footage from the drone, take footage from the camera, and I just load it onto a larger USB drive, just in case something gets stolen or broken. I at least have that footage available to me because I hate to have can you imagine, like you take a trip down here working with a company, and then on your flight back, like your camera bag gets stolen or something, and then like, yes, I know your hardware, like your camera and equipment is gone, but then like that footage is gone. Like, please return at least the footage. Would be absolutely great. But yeah, so that'll be awesome. I fly back tomorrow to Pennsylvania, and then I'll be working on the video over the next 2 weeks or so, releasing a video on this flare gas site. I've been to another site in New York that is hydro driven, and that was definitely an experience very early on, 2 years back, maybe even a little bit more. And then since then, everything's been grid tied. And so this was an experience I was looking forward to with a flare gas location that I never, I knew very little about, didn't know how that process goes. And the nice thing is in the video, Paul explains like kind of their flare cap and then like how the process goes through and the pressure and having fluid in the line and like the back pressure, all that stuff. He goes through a lot of that in the video, which I think will be very educational for a lot of people. The only downside is recording at sites like this is like the generators are so loud. At a normal site, the loudest thing on that site is the miners. Here, the loudest thing is the generator. It is massive, these generators, and they are so loud. It's absolutely wild, to say the least. And so that should be fun editing that out a little bit. What I'll use is DaVinci Resolve, which is what I use for editing. They have a voice isolation tool, which utilizes an AI feature. And that should help for sure, because the generator is the loudest thing on the site. Absolutely the loudest thing on the site here. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going to hang out here for, I don't know, about an hour maybe. And just chat with you guys. So would love to answer questions in chat on things you want to talk about related to mining, related to here in Texas at this location, just whatever. Would love to answer any questions that you guys have in chat. I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me today on your Saturday, just kind of seeing what is going on. Scott Sheffield, I don't think I realized that you lived in Texas. That's new to me. I don't think I knew that. Was this a stranded gas location and they are getting the oil and not compressing gas to the pipeline? Yeah, so this is very common out here, is their stranded gas is just burnt off, is how it works out here. So the oil actually is not tapped into any pipeline at all. All the oil out here is actually put into massive drums, especially in this area. I mean, you literally could look and it's flat as can be, and you just see these oil pumps going, and everything is individualized. So it's pumped to the actual massive tanks on site. I don't know what the volume is. It might have been mentioned in the video by Paul, but I don't recall exactly. And then a lot of these sites that gas is actually burnt off when it hits that certain pressure. A lot of these sites are very just individual, independent. So they're not tapped in or anything like that. But great question there, coming to us here from Braden over on Twitter. Twitter representing today. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out for sure. And listen, I am no expert at all on flare gas. This was my first trip down. Everything I've learned is in the last like 24 hours. What does he say here? I built natural gas boosters for sites like this. Screw compressor, drive line. I don't even know what that is, but that's cool. But yeah, so I don't know all the details there. Part of their objective in Texas is to expand this off-grid mining, because I guess my understanding is you're only supposed to be like burning off that flare gas. Like the flare gas isn't running 24/7 at some of these places. And so their goal is to partner with these places that have more consistent flare gas and see about, getting them set up with, Bitcoin mining and actually utilizing that flare gas versus burning it off. I mean, I learned all different things, like some of these stacks with the flare gas burning, like, oh, that has some crude oil in it versus ones that didn't. You can tell because it has more black smoke coming off of it versus a cleaner and like a bigger plume on the top of the flame. There were some crazy ones we drove by, smaller ones, but then some really, really big ones. Because they didn't have active flare burning on site that you could see because it's all capped, we actually stopped along the way, spotted some flare gas sites, popped up my drone and flew it off to these sites, and got some really good footage, which is really cool. But you got to imagine, like, one, I am no drone like professional here, very much avid casual enthusiast. So like my drone skills aren't the best. And then on top of that, like I'm flying near an active flame. You know what I mean? So a little nervous there. Nice thing is with DJI, they have a lot of really cool, they call them quick shots, where you can pick a target with the drone and then do like circle, and it'll circle around it with a nice smooth professional look, or, do a, they call it a rocket, where it starts out and then comes up and out. So that was really, really nice for some of these flare gases. Let's see. Are you in my neck of the woods? I have many customers in Midland. I'll be there on Monday. Very, very cool. Yeah, they were actually telling me they have there's some event going on down here, and they actually have Brains OS's team that'll actually be coming on site to their location. I think next weekend they were talking about, which was very cool. And then they're working with a oil companies actually visiting their site to tour it out for a proof of concept the following week, which is fantastic. Got 22 in chat here. Very cool. Mr. DJ Mines, reminds me of DJ Mines. He's going to be coming home in the next few weeks, which will be awesome. He's a great entertainer, great live stream, one of the best live streamers out there. All right, this is a massive message. It covers my face. I feel like Winston from Home Alone. We build VRUs to capture flare gas to eliminate, but I have some great ideas to make energy with that and liquefy the gas on site, microprocessing, then truck out on use on NGLs to also generate power. For Bitcoin mining. Yeah, you might want to, Braden, you might want to connect with Paul from Veray Mining. I think your knowledge, your expertise, your background, you might be a huge value to their team in kind of going down these avenues for sure. Because the site I was at was their proof of concept site. They started out with the Caterpillar generator there and a upstream data box that holds 90 ASICs, and then they added on later their Giga container next to it as well. So they have those running 3 weeks. Wow, imagine that. That is awesome. Very awesome. Happy to hear that for DJ and his family. That'll be awesome for them, which will be cool. How has the question for you guys? How has the stream been? Like, I'm running off of 5G hotspot. The internet's been great, by the way, here in Texas and Midland. And I did a speed test ahead of time. We did have 30 up, so I'm hoping that the connection has been pretty decent thus far for you guys, which would be good. But Braden, yeah, it seems like you're very, very knowledgeable in that world. So that is very cool. The stream is meh. Well, we try our best, you know. I was like, I'm not going to use hotel internet. I was like, we'll try it. We'll try it with 5G hotspot and see how it does. But plus, the camera quality is not very good. Do you have or sinusitis? I don't. I think it's just because I'm using this microphone right here. I don't have a cold or anything like that. I don't even know what that one is. I had to look it up. I didn't realize you were in Texas. Look at you guys. It's all like a small world down here. Absolutely small world down here. Even though Texas is massive, there are a lot of you guys from Texas. As more and more time go on, different people I meet, a lot of you guys are from Texas, which is cool, which is absolutely cool. Yeah. No, I don't have a cold or anything, son of a rabbit. I think it's just the fact of like on this crap, on this little microphone setup here that we kind of threw together. I usually don't use these individually. I usually hook up a lapel mic, and that works a lot better. Let's see. Sorry. Massive. Dude, the motorcycles and cars down here are so loud. The hotel is like right near the road. Hey, brother, looking at buying a few gold shell KA box pro miners. Do you know if they are profitable? No, they're not. Unfortunately, Casper mining is not profitable right now, let alone a Casper mining with a miner that old. Go over to miningnow.com, put your electric rate in the upper right-hand corner, and then go ahead and look up the KA Box Pro, and it's going to tell you the profitability. I would not be mining Casper right now to chase profitability. I would be mining it for yield mining. That's awesome. Do you have his handle you can share so I can add him and connect? We started our company in Midland, actually. Grew up in the area, now near San Antonio. They're just like at Veray Mining, I think. Let me look it up real quick here. I'll find it on Twitter for you. Get you. And it's him and a handful of guys, actually, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's just Veray Mining, but I will put it in chat to make it easier for you guys, which I think will be nice. So we will put it right there. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Glad to ask there. Who forgot to hit the like button? Well, thank you. Feeling blessed. Appreciate the support. Are they using Starlink or another provider? Yeah, so they originally started out with using 5G. 5G, actually, in my video, I asked him about this because it's so flat out here that, LTE actually does pretty good. However, with the winds in Texas, like, and it was windy on Friday. It was like 20-mile-an-hour winds. It was wild. My drone was like flying sideways. Anyways, they started out with 5G LTE, and then they moved to Starlink as soon as it was available. But they've been running on it for a few years now, and been really, really happy with Starlink. So they Starlink as their primary, and then that's a backup is how that works. Would you happen to be going to Cypherpunk 2025? So Cypherpunk is actually just piggybacking off of Bitcoin 2025. So I think it's just the night before, and it's not some massive event anymore or anything like that. It's more just like a meet and greet, I believe. Don't quote me, but I won't be going. I'm not going to be going to Bitcoin 2025. I will be going next month, actually, on the 25th. I will be going to Mining Disrupt. If you had to pick between Mining Disrupt and Bitcoin 2025, I would go to Mining Disrupt. Especially you guys as miners. Bitcoin 2025 is massive, but it's very like Bitcoin focused. Like, you're not going to get a lot of altcoins talked about there. There are a lot of Bitcoin miners and stuff will be there, and some hardware will be there. But everything I have found over the years is that like Mining Disrupt is where, if you're a miner, whether you're a home GPU miner or you're a large scale mining farm operator, Mining Disrupt is the way to go. I'm not going to go to Bitcoin 2025. I don't want to say it's a waste, but if you had to pick one or the other, that's why I'm going to Mining Disrupt this year. How much is my portfolio down? A lot, like 50% down right now. It's a lot, but these swings are normal for sure. Thanks for the quick response. Any recommendations for hardware and which coins to mine for profitability? Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're a new miner. I don't steer people towards GPU mining just because the word profitability. I think GPU mining is perfect for tinkerers and speculative mining right now in the current mining space. I would probably look at something like that's not going to break the bank, that's still going to be profitable. I would probably look at script mining, and I would look at an AlphaPex DG Home 1. It's going to go for about $2,000, maybe a little bit more. I don't know where it's at today. But that's going to be your best bet. Do not go over to Google and search for one and find some random website selling one. You will get scammed 100%. Stay away from just buying for the lowest price on Google. You have to keep factors in like shipping and import tax. So if you visit my Discord, which is linked down below, I have a section called Where to Buy. These are partners that I bought from and that are partnered with the channel, and that I know for a fact you won't get scammed because I buy from them directly. But just be careful. DG Home 1, you can do a lot with that with script mining. So hopefully that helps you out. Damn, I won a ticket in RPM stream on Cypherpunk. Yeah, so like that's going to get you into Cypherpunk 2025. But Amplifier Gaming, keep in mind, it's not some massive big event. Cypherpunk is just piggybacking off the night before to Bitcoin 2025. So I'm hoping you're going to Bitcoin 2025, because if not, it's kind of goofy to go for like fly all the way out to Vegas for just one evening for Cypherpunk, if that makes sense. You doing any sort of buying with this dip? If you are, what you buying, and don't mind me asking? Yeah, so I bought the other day, I think I put another $5,000 into Bitcoin. I always like to buy Bitcoin when it's low in like the early 90s, and then it pumps and it does well. I didn't have a lot of time to. What I like to do is when I take profits, I'll put it into USDT and then stablecoin, and then I will, when a buying opportunity approaches like this, I'll buy up. And so that's where most of my profits go into. I take the profits, and now Bitcoin's like the lazy man's purchase, right? In the past, when I had more time, it does give me an opportunity to go ahead and buy and get into a lot of these smaller cap coins, more opportunity, more profitability available to me. And I've done really well with those. And at that moment, I was like, hey, I hate to see money sit. So I wanted to invest in taking advantage of it. I'm going to be driving, it's like 5 hours away. So you're going to drive 5 hours there for an evening and then 5 hours back, and you're not going to go to Bitcoin 2025? That's wild to me. Maybe I'm wrong. But just be careful. Just be smart. Be smart for sure. I enjoyed Cypherpunk a few years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago? But it was like a 2-day event. There were speakers. It was a lot more fun. A lot more fun for sure. Yeah, amplifier gaming. It's really your call. I guess, what are your expectations? It was a lot of fun when it was like a 2-day event. Uh, yes, yes. We'll just put it that way. It was good. It wasn't as focused on what I thought it would be on Flux, on proof of work, on mining. It was kind of all over the place. But now it's totally different. Like I didn't go last year when it was in Nashville. And so I think it becomes more of like a meet and greet, which I still think is fantastic. But like definitely make sure that like that's where your head is at. It's like it's a meet and greet. I think Cypherpunk is a meet and greet now. It's no longer like an event. Maybe I'm wrong. But I won't be going to Bitcoin 2025. So yeah, you were. Oh man, I saw. What's up, cool guy? What's up, Mr. 𝐶𝐸? Welcome from Texas. Hanging out with the cool kids down here in the beautiful weather. We got a little bit of time before we go grab some drinks and dinner. Just trying to meet some YouTubers if possible and maybe see some cool projects. Yeah, very, very, very cool. I mean, Amplifier Gaming, if you're going to go all the way to Vegas for Cypherpunk, buy yourself a ticket for Bitcoin 2025. That's going to be significantly more valuable to you and make it a whole trip, not just one night to Cypherpunk. Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Yep, there's a lot of cowboy boots here. Saw quite a bit of horses, a lot of cattle in the fields with the oil pumps. Yes, very much so. Yeah, so yeah, I slept so much last night. Like I think I went to bed at like 8:30 and slept till 6:30, which is a lot of sleep for me. I'm in Texas visiting Veray Mining. They're a flare gas mining company right here in Midland, Texas. So I actually flew down yesterday. I talked about this at the top of the stream, but I know a lot of people come and go. Flew down yesterday morning. It was early. 4 a.m. woke up, was on my flight by 6, was in Midland by 11:30 their local time. And we drove out to the site, which was really cool. It was an hour away from civilization, middle of nowhere, a lot of oil pumps. Did some recording yesterday for some B-roll, for drone footage, and then gave me an opportunity. I always like to go to the site the day before, like, and take advantage of Friday, just to see what the site's like, what I want to record. And then what I did last night was I planned out my video. Here's the different clips. Here's the different things I'm going to go ahead and record. Here's who I want to record with, the different topics I want to cover, so that when I get on site on Saturday, like today, it's just bam, 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 bam. All right, great. We're recording here. I'm recording here. I'm going to do this with this person. We're going to talk about this person. So it's all like scheduled. So then the nice thing is by like noon, we were done and everything was recorded. And then I take about an hour and do as much B-roll as I can. This time I got a lot. I got about 600 clips of B-roll. Playing some Balatro. What is that? I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. Is this just me? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know. Is that a video game? Is that like a board game? Like, what is that? It's a video game? Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. Oh, it's a mobile game. I got you. It's like a poker card game. Okay, got you. Okay. Never heard of it before. Never heard of it before. That's okay, Seb. We won't judge you, okay? We won't judge you at all. But yeah, so we're just hanging out here. I got some time to kill before dinner, hanging out in the hotel room. I got caught up on some work I needed to do. Yeah, exciting next few weeks of content that I'll have coming out here, which I'm really looking forward to getting out to you guys here. Monday's video coming up is a few months past due, but it's on it's a panel from when I went over to Slovenia to the Bitcoin conference that I will be releasing. One of the panels I was on. So I'm excited to go ahead and release that. That's going to be on Monday, so coming out here in a few days, and that's going to be great. I was excited for it. And then later on in the week, I have finally decided to crack out those USB thumb drive Bitcoin miners. I got like a full setup of those with like the hub and all of the different 7 different USB miners. So that's pretty sweet. So I'm looking forward to that. I have that coming out later this week. I have a salad video, 30-day recap to see how much you actually make with a 30-90 in 30 days. So I put that to the test versus the advertised that we hear talked about. So what is the actual profit? And then I do have a video coming out. It involves ASIC miners and fire. And that's all I'm going to say. And I'm looking forward to that one. Looking forward to releasing that video for sure. I think that's going to be, I'm going to have fun recording that without a doubt. But yeah, so in the next 2 weeks, a little bit after that, we'll then have the Veray mining tour, which is the one we were just on today. That'll be releasing too. So a lot of really good content coming your way, which will be nice. It's addicting. Uh-oh, that's trouble. Did you say fire? Oh yeah. Listen, everyone's got a little pyro inside of them. I promise for sure. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this message. On these ASIC miner setups, do they have refrigerated air setups inside or just moving ambient air through the setups and filtering the air? I have yet to see these setups close up, but I see that from the road and curious. Yeah, everything's air cooled. Mining is all about airflow. It's pretty much, you want a wind tunnel. So that's why you see a lot of these mining containers. They have filters on one side, and they use the ASICs fans, which are 250 CFM each. So there's 2 on the intake side each that suck the air through and then blow it out the rear end of the ASIC. And then traditionally you have exhaust fans on your container that are blowing it out. And it's all about airflow. Like, you are not concerned about how cold that air is when it's entering in traditionally, especially here in Texas. Like, it could be 100 plus outside, and that's okay. The miners just want fresh air in, and they're really, really hot air out. So that's a big misconception. No one cares about humidity. These units are meant to run in all different environments. So even people that are, up towards New York, or, they are where I am out at Pennsylvania, you have no care about humidity at all. That's not a factor at all. I'm surprised they don't overheat when it's 115 out. Well, you have to remember, these run significantly hotter. So 115 degrees in is fine when it's blowing 90 Celsius out. Like, when they hit 90 C, they actually have a temp sensor, and they will shut off when the exhaust temp. They're not concerned about the intake temp. All they're concerned about is the exhaust temp. So when they hit 90 C, which is the exhaust side, is when they actually shut off. So if you do C to F with these miners, so 90 C is 194 Fahrenheit is what that actually comes to. Fire sounds good. Yeah, that's right. We all have a little pyro inside of us. All right, let's be honest here. So yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Looking forward to it. Yeah, the differential is fine. Yep. Yeah, I've been to 2 different mining farms in Texas now that fully use outside ambient air, and that's the big misconception. I talk with a lot of walks of life, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to take an office and I'm going to fill it with air conditioners and ASIC miners," and I'm like, "No, you're not." Because air conditioners cannot keep up with the 197 degree temperatures blowing out. Like, it's not how it works. It's not how it works. It's just, you have a lot of people from the tech industry that step into mining that have a data center, or they have a server room mentality of like, oh, I need air conditioner in there to keep it cold. It's like, no, you just need to bring fresh air in and exhaust the hot air as fast as possible. And so that's why, like, even the sheds that I build on my YouTube channel are all, they're built like wind tunnels. Air in, air out as fast as possible. Don't try to mess with the air temperatures at all. Have you seen liquid chillers? Yeah, some places will try to they do a water curtain, it's called, that goes on the intake side. And it's a water curtain setup that helps to drop the temperature down, kind of like a swamp cooler setup when it's insanely hot. However, it's not necessary entirely. Outside of that, it's not really worth it. A lot of the times you see these liquid chillers like you're talking about when people are trying to force mining to work in a space. When they're like in a building setup or a warehouse setup, and they're trying to force mining to work and make it work there versus actually having a dedicated space for it. No, it doesn't increase it doesn't increase it at all. What you do see is in colder climates, so like up in Pennsylvania, it's been below 30 Fahrenheit. This is coming in. By the way, if you guys are like, where are these questions coming in? Coming in from Twitter. I'll make sure I highlight them. What you see in Pennsylvania, though, is that the colder the temperature, That means the fans on these ASICs don't need to spin as much, so you're not using as much power, which in result is not cutting into your profit margins as much because your operating expenses are lower. So that is the benefit of mining in some of these colder conditions, is that, you know, it does work out. Pennsylvania, we get all 4 seasons. So in the summer, it's still going to be 100. In the winter, you know, this was one of the colder winters. We were down like -5 was like the coldest, and the wind chills were brutal. But we're not traditionally seeing that. A lot of people will, and I'm really glad you're asking some of these questions. A lot of people will actually get creative and find ways to recirculate that hot air. So when you got 150 degrees Fahrenheit coming out of your exhaust side, finding a creative method to recirculate it back in, and to have your miners, like I do this with my one shed, I'm able to keep my intake side 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So when it's 30 outside, it's 50 on the intake side. So it's not as cold. So you're not, you know, not such a big difference in delta between the two, which work out really, really well. Recirculating air in colder climates is great. Also, that hot air coming in on the intake side as well. You talked about humidity earlier. It does help with kind of burning up some of that humidity, which is really nice and works out well too, which is good. Let's see, what time do we have? We got a little bit longer. We'll be live for a little bit longer. I'm not going to lie, might get a little nap in before we go grab some beers and get some dinner. Last night we went to a really cool like pizza Italian place in downtown Midland. That was really, really good. Really, really good food too. I needed a meal after traveling all day. That was just, it hit the spot perfectly, which was really, really nice. Yeah, great questions so far. I do appreciate it. A lot of questions coming over from Twiddle. Did you hear that? Twitter with Braden. So I do appreciate it. Great questions, Braden. Braden, I'm very curious. So if you're not mining, just curious, how did you come across my Twitter live? Just with my channel being so specific. Not that I mind your questions. I think they're fantastic. Complete side note. Anyone else in chat see that Tempe got their Snaptron nodes network up and running? I was really happy to get mine. It's up and running and doing really, really well. So I'm really, really happy with that, which is nice. Not sure if anyone else has Tempe nodes. I see what you're saying on trying to shove tech to make it work. My thoughts are, if we absorb the 197-degree heat and liquid and transfer it to boil, refrigerated, running expander and trays for cooling, it's sure. Yeah, I think it just depends on like how much capital you're going to put in. You know what I mean? Like how much capital you're going to put in and how many points of failure there are. Because at the end of the day, you're looking for power at the cheapest point possible. So like we were talking about at the top of the stream, power being with these flare gas sites being 1 cent. And so like that's unheard of. Like 1 cent is just unheard of in this industry, especially in the United States. So 1 cent allows you to run older miners, which you get cheaper, which means your capital is significantly less, and you're still able to stack some Bitcoin, which is great. At 1 cent, you could probably run, what is, let's look here. I was curious on what an S9 even runs at on 1 cent. Let's take a look here. S9, we'll go with like the 14 terahash, S9i. Let's take a look at that. So an S9i still makes 57 cents a day. And like you can get S9s for close to like nothing, which is, you know, that's massive to think that like, you know, you can run that still. I mean, that's all, I mean, it's 32 cents a day to run that in electric. You're 89 cents revenue, 32 cents for electric, and 57 cents a day in Bitcoin, which is wild to think that like you could still run something like that on flare gas at 1 cent, which would be really, really nice. Imagine running like the Bitmain Antminer S21 XP, 270 terahash on like flare gas. Like, what does that come to? Those must be some really good profits. Scott here, Scott Q Longstreet, hobbyist. Are you still doing immersion for ASICs at home? Would you recommend it? Yes, yes, and yes. Yes, I still have my immersion C2 fog hashing C2 kit. It's running fantastic. To give you an idea, I have 2 miners in there, and they have been fantastic. I have 2 S19J Pro 100 terahash models in there. And what I do is I actually have them on brains, and brains, I have them turned down to 1900 watts. So at 1900 watts each, which is great, definitely really, really good. 1900 watts. And I think they're at, don't quote me, I know they're over 80, somewhere in the 80s, maybe low 80s for the terahash side, which is great. I even thought about considering putting them on solo mining, but I'm not too sure. So we'll see. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. I think you really have to find models that have past experience. Like others have spoke to the fact of like these models run great in dielectric fluid in immersion. And so great example, like my S19 XP absolutely was a disaster. Lost that miner, actually. Had more bad chips on that miner than chips running. And later on did some research, found out just from people's experience that the S19 XPs do not do well in immersion. And well, lesson learned, which, I got plenty of air-cooled time off of it, put it into immersion because I put it in immersion because it's 151 terahash. And my thought was like, okay, when Bitcoin's even more profitable, I will, overclock this and increase that hash rate and then lower it down. And I just didn't really have the opportunity. But the S19J Pro 100 terahashes are great in immersion. Highly recommend the fog hashing kit. I have the C2. I actually went and installed 2 C6 kits. They did the install, but I came in, configured the miners. I flipped the miners to immersion and actually put the oil in for a company in Eastern Pennsylvania and work with them. They consulted for me to do that, and that worked out well. What's up, Master Blaster? I need a shed. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Interesting, thanks. What is the maintenance like? How often do you need to drain it and replace it? Never. Now, never is the answer that in a utopian world. However, the only reason I emptied my immersion oil and refilled it back up with new oil was because I was taking the miners entirely out of it, and I wanted to do a video on what that process would be like. But chatting with that team, so what happens is your oil starts out clear, and then it will turn a yellowish color, which is normal just with interacting, especially if you put in ASICs that aren't brand new. You always want to clean those ASICs as best you can. If they were, I had one or two actually I put in that one was hosted that I brought back and put in there that needed crazy cleaning, and you can only clean it so much. Let's be honest here. You can only do so good. But tried to clean it the best I could. So it does get a little bit of a discolored color like yellow. Also, you have to keep in mind, once you put a miner in immersion, you can almost never go back to air cooling. And you might be like, well, what do you mean? Sure you can. Sure you can. However, one of the things you have to keep in mind is you need to clean the boards immensely with a rubbing alcohol solution to get off that fluid. And then you actually have to take off all the heat sinks. You need to repaste them, because what fluid does, fluid actually eats away at that thermal paste. So when I even took my units out of immersion, you could see the pink thermal paste sitting on the bottom of the tank. So you do not want to go ahead, pull it out of immersion, quote, clean it off, throw some fans on it, and send it off for hosting. It will actually end up burning up. So you definitely want to be careful with that. But yeah, immersion is a fantastic avenue to go. The capital isn't as much as what you would think as a home miner. Let's say you were thinking about building a shed versus running it in your garage in a C6 immersion kit. Your C6 kit, I thought I saw was like $2,700. So, your shed's going to cost thousands of dollars once you're all said and done. So there are some options you definitely need to weigh out when you're looking at things at a higher level. Great questions, though. Love to see, man. Twitter today is freaking loving it. I'm loving all these questions coming over to us from Twitter. We have a great audience, over 150 people on Twitter today. YouTube, I don't know what your problem is, YouTube, but you guys are slacking. You better get your shit together, YouTube, or else we're gonna have a divorce at this point and just go straight Twitter. But no, I do appreciate the questions there, Scott. Great question. If you want to talk more about immersion, please reach out. There's a link down below, and we can get some time scheduled together to chat about immersion, because I definitely think it's an avenue worth pursuing for sure. Oh my gosh, Braden, the messages you type out on Twitter are massive. Look at this message, guys. Look at this. This is the longest. All right, I'm going to try to read this to myself real quick. Braden, very, very cool. Okay, I read Braden's massive message there, which is good. Yeah, I mean, repurposing any type of heat for Bitcoin mining totally makes sense. It's just going to come down to what your capital is and how much you have to put out in order to get it into that power form. And it's the amount. Like, you want consistent power when it's coming down to mining. You don't want power that's all over the place in fluctuations. So it's definitely something that you want to look at. Master Blaster, how are you negotiating a lower electric rate? So for me in Pennsylvania, you have your demand and your supply side. Demand side, you can't do anything about, but I also have commercial power on my ASIC property. So that's all on demand charge. And because of the fact that my machines don't go up and down like you would with a traditional business where there's nothing running at night and then in the morning you're powering everything up, my demand charge is very consistent. On my supply side, you can actually shop that around in Pennsylvania to different suppliers that are out there. I have worked previously with a few suppliers to negotiate a rate. Right now, I'm on a 6-month, and this is not normal in most states, but in Pennsylvania, your supply is actually deregulated. So there's hundreds of companies out there selling power. It's like that last mile type of deal. Right now I am at 7.2 for 6 months. And then I have to add the demand side on, which when you do it comes down to be less than a cent. So I'm about mid sevens right now is where I'm at currently. And I'm currently looking into other avenues to go. For me, the biggest one was like when I started my shed up in August, I didn't have a lot of time under my belt to show like, hey, here's the amount of power I'm using. I tried to go in negotiating without having any proof. But now that we've been running since August, after my 6-month contract's up with this group, with a company called Public Power, then I can go and start talking to some of these suppliers and get custom quotes, which they do based off of your size. And I can say, look, here is a year's worth of power. This is how much I'm using. Especially, for me, where I'm at with all of that, it definitely comes down to, I'm about 72,000 watts, which comes down to, I think it's like 54. Let me look here. I'll find it. Here it is. I have it broken down actually for my site. So I'm using, last I checked, which this was updated on January 15th, I was at 72,962 watts is what I was using. If you add on my cooling fans, each of the inline fans, that adds another 3,768 watts. So total watts I'm running is 76,730 watts. And when you convert that to kilowatt hours, which is what you see on your electric bill, that's 55,245 kilowatt hours. So if you take that 55,245, and in Pennsylvania last year, the average home uses 896 kilowatt hours. So I'm using the power of 61 homes currently right now. And so I use that as a negotiating tool when I'm reaching out to these companies, when I'm speaking with these companies to say, hey, I'm not coming to you as a single homeowner. I'm using the power for 61 homes. So that helps out versus like, it's hard when you come to bat with like, oh, I'm using 5,000 kilowatt hours, because that's not as attractive for sure. Is your commercial power, it's single phase. Because if I went with 3-phase, it was going to add some challenges. So in Pennsylvania, if you can do a second service on a property. So like this is on a residential property with single phase, and then you can put a second service on it, but it can't be 3-phase. It has to be single phase. So I had to go with single phase to run a separate service on the property that I have this on. If I was to have a whole separate property dedicated to, and it was a commercial space, and then 3-phase would be available to me. So maybe down the road. My rate is 12, so pretty terrible. Yeah, the hard part is 12 cents, you're cutting into a lot of profit margin there, which is a real shame. And that's something you need to weigh. Like that's something you need to look at. That's why when people have, I always tell people, if you have like higher than 10 cents electric, and you're going to have full-size ASIC miners, that I would recommend that you host them. I think you're going to have, because especially when the power is consistent And then on top of that, you can get lower power rates, which is really, really nice. Just checking my phone, make sure nothing's blowing up here. Yeah, great questions so far, guys. Been loving it. Thank you guys very much for asking them and keeping me entertained while I hang out in the hotel room, which has been a lot of fun so far. But good questions so far, man. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And Twitter, man. Twitter's growing. We're at 165 viewers on Twitter. Hell yeah, Twitter. You guys are doing great. I appreciate it. I in the past was always doing YouTube, and this time I decided, all right, we'll do YouTube and Twitter. I am looking later on towards the summer to start adding in some other platforms to expand the reach and audience to not just be YouTube and Twitter, but we'll have to see. I'm kind of weighing a few different options. At the end of the day, the more people I can reach, the larger audience we can have, the more successful the channel will be. So looking forward to that down the road, which will be nice. Oh my goodness. What else? What other questions do you guys have today? Love to chat for a little bit longer. Then I'll probably take a little nap here. You know, somebody's got to do it before we go out to dinner and drinks and stuff. It should be fun. And then my flight isn't till later today or later tomorrow. I probably should look that up to see. I have to look to see my flight information. Let's look here. I guess I should really look at that. Here we go. Yeah, see, I don't fly out till like 4:30 tomorrow. So I don't get in back home till about 11:30 at night. It looks like. Why did I think I got home earlier? I thought I got home earlier. Damn, I'm gonna miss the Super Bowl and everything. That's a bummer. I thought I would be home significantly earlier tomorrow. Why did I think that? Maybe I'll see if there's any earlier flights. See if I can get out of here earlier tomorrow, because I didn't realize it was so late in the day. I'll have to look into that after our after the live stream here, because I think that'd be good. It's always tough though, because the airport that I fly into is a lot smaller of an airport, so there isn't as many good options. Make sure you are home to see KC beat the Eagles. Oh, this guy over here, this guy coming in. How's it going, Greg? KC beat the Eagles. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? What type of Pennsylvanian are you? Let's see here. I have a one-on-one with you on Monday night. Looking forward to it. Nice, man. Looking forward to it as well. Yeah, I haven't looked. That's too far ahead for me, right? I got to get through tomorrow first, and then we'll go from there to see what's going on. Yeah, I have a few consulting calls scheduled for next week. Consulting's been great. I've been chatting with all different walks of life, which has been so cool. So many different conversations have come up from that. So yeah, really looking forward to it, which will be nice, which will be good. All right, we'll give it a few more minutes here, guys, maybe 15 more minutes. Then we'll head out, see if I can connect with the airline, see if we can get an earlier flight, and relax before heading out later tonight here in downtown Midland, Texas, which would be nice. I haven't even looked at the markets, but I imagine they're not. I imagine they're not doing so well. What does things look like? Where's Bitcoin at right now? Let's look here. Today, 96. Wow, it's a bargain right now. It's like bargain shopping. You guys better buy that up. Dogecoin's at 25 cents. Okay, we don't need it to go any lower than that. That's fine. You know, we all right. I wonder what Litecoin is at. That's Doge, Litecoin. I don't even want to look at 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿. I'll be honest with you. That's going to be rough. Litecoin's at 104. Oh, let's look at 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜𝐿's here. 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐜's, what is that at? 8.7. Oh my gosh, 8 cents. What else do I look at? Lithium. What's a lithium at? Oh my gosh, 52 cents. I remember when I bought my 2 AL2 miners, it was at $2.80. It's now at 52 cents. Whew. Just got to weather the storm. Weather the storm. Not much to do in that town. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have to see what happens there. Absolutely. What else we got here? Look at this. Oh, look at that. Yeah, this is pretty much like the market right now. My company really does get great use from our weekly consulting calls. Well, I appreciate that. Absolutely happy to hear that for sure. Yes, the market right now is like, oh, definitely rough. But it's funny because I think we very quickly forget where we came from. Like we were just in the bear market not too long ago. So where we are now, it's like, oh, okay. That's not, I think we're just used to these, you know what I mean? We're used to the current, having these dips. Makes it a little bit easier to swallow. I work in that town, in the oil field. Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it's, I mean, it's a nice town downtown for sure. Can't say much negative about Midland that I've seen, but I'm also an outsider. Timpy. Yeah, I got my Timpy Synaptron AI nodes up in one. Shouldn't say several. One up and running. That was one I did the video on a while back. Has the RTX 3060 in it, which has been running very, very well, which has worked out nicely. Are they doing a lot of mining up in Marcellus Shale area up in Pennsylvania, West Virginia? I mean, I know there's several. I know of one mining farm in middle of Pennsylvania that actually uses repurposes coal, like used coal, and they have some type of system with their generator that they're repurposing that for a container farm in central Pennsylvania. There is a few other, and then there's some on-grid sites in Pennsylvania as well. West Virginia, there's a few sites down there that I know of, but the hard part is about mining is like a lot of mining isn't public. So like you really don't know what's where. And I think that's the whole point of it, at least up to this point, has been very like hush hush and like, not really talked about. So you really don't know what's around unless you like see it in the news or it pops up on like a YouTube video like this or something of that sort, is really where you see that. All right. I think that's going to wrap things up for today, guys. This was an absolute blast. I will have a video on Monday dropping here. Tomorrow, actually, we'll have a short. And then tomorrow night, our members only video. If you guys are a member like Master Blaster on the channel, you get a weekly video that I drop just for members on the channel. So I do appreciate members. Thank you very much. Monday, I have a video from when I went over to Slovenia and spoke at the Bitcoin conference over there. So that's going to be dropping on Monday. So something for you guys to look forward to coming up here over the next 2 days, which will be absolutely awesome. Definitely looking forward to it. As I was talking about before at the top of the stream, I will be attending Mining Disrupt this year, which is coming up at the end of March. If you're a miner, like absolutely recommend you go. If you're a home miner in GPU mining, or you're a farm operator with a larger farm, the nice thing is there's massive amount. Like Mining Disrupt is for miners. Bitcoin 2025 is kind of a blend of a little bit of everything. But if you're looking for just mining and more on mining, it's absolutely the way to go. So anyways, that's where I will be coming up here at the end of March for 3 days. If you guys are looking at going. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys next time. And thank you guys very much for joining me today. You guys have a great one.
Mining Disrupt 2025 is just around the corner. And I've partnered up with the team over at Mining Disrupt to help spread the word. If you're on the fence about going, I highly recommend it. This year, it's in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I've been to Mining Disrupt for the last 2 years, and I can't imagine missing it. Mining Disrupt is packed full of fellow crypto miners just like you and me. Whether you're a home GPU miner, a mid-size farm operator, or a big hosting company, Mining Disrupt is a home for all crypto miners. At Mining Disrupt, you can expect brand new mining hardware releases, a chance to listen to amazing speakers, killer after parties, and a chance to meet your favorite content creators. Grab your tickets via the link directly down below or by scanning this QR code and you'll receive 20% off. I'll see you guys there.